So welcome to the Always Wired podcast. We're joined tonight by Scotland's #1 bantamweight, Scotty Boom Boom Malone.
How we doing?
So Scott, do you want to just tell the viewers just a wee bit about yourself, like where you're from, all that kind of nonsense?
Well, my name's Scott Malone, from Dundee, professional fighter. Fought on Cage Warriors for the title. Unfortunately, lost, but yeah, that's pretty much it. I'm a gym owner, co-owner. That's pretty much it. It's me, just a guy from Dundee.
So are you still staying in Dundee? Aye.
Yeah, still staying in Dundee, mate.
Oh, that's a bit of a commute though, coming through there to like the likes of higher level and Scottish squad.
It takes to a higher level. It's about an hour. To hit squad, it was about an hour and a half to hit squad.
Oh, not bad. That's fair. So what was it about MMA that drew you to the sport? What about all the sports?
I'd done judo for, at the time it was like 12 years I'd done judo for. Competed fairly high level with that. So I was just kind of wanting something different. I kind of fell out with the coaches at judo, and it was like kind of needed someone else to do. I was going to the gym, but I was doing absolutely zero cardio. And at the time, one of my mates just like, we'll go to this cage. It was cage fighting at the time. It wasn't MMA. We'll go to this cage fighting gym, and we'll do the conditioning class. I was like, okay. So we went down and done the conditioning class, and I loved being there. I loved every second of when I was there doing the conditioning class and that as well. So then from there, that was it. I just kind of kept going to the conditioning classes. Then I was like, right, I'm going to just give the grappling classes a try and the MMA classes a try, and just went from there. That was it.
So did you make the transition before Ronda Rousey made it cool, or were you after her?
That was in 2000. I think I started in 2013. That'd be 10 years ago. Was it 2010? No, it would have been 2011. Sorry, 2011. So pretty much 10 years.
I was when you said 2013, I was sitting there.
Yeah.
I think that's only 7, but
that's how we count in Dundee.
I didn't want to say it since you're gearing up my time. I didn't want to be that fucking guy. So you touched on it a wee bit there that you signed for Cage Warriors. Like, what was that like when your manager got the call through for Cage Warriors?
Yeah, well, at the time I was kind of always wanting to go to Cage Warriors. It was something that I not grew up watching, but through my MMA career, like as soon as I started watching MMA, because I was watching it before it was even started. You know what I mean? That's sort of what got us in. Obviously, at the time, I was only watching UFC. Once I started training, then I started hearing about Cage Warriors and stuff like that as well. So that for me was always like a big show to be on. And then because I was fighting pro, I was struggling to get matched. I was having a lot of pullouts. Guys were pulling out last minute and stuff like that. So I was finding it hard to fucking get a fight. You know what I mean? So I think my management obviously spoke to Ian Dean, it would have been, and they got me on the show. And I actually remember the phone call saying, "Oh, you've got a fight on Cage Warriors." By that time, you know, like I was kind of ready to be there anyway. You know what I mean? So, yes. But it was definitely the next step.
Because you mentioned like fighting for the title, because you fought against Jack Shore, wasn't it?
Yeah.
That Cage Warriors, it's got a lot of like real high level fighters on it as well. So yeah. It is, and it's on Fight Pass, and it's usually on BT Sport as well. So it's a great platform to get your name out there.
Yeah, definitely.
Were you 5-1 when you went on the Cage Warriors?
I think it was 3-1 by the time I fought on Cage Warriors, and then I had fights on Cage Warriors, and I think it was 5-1 or 6-1 before I got 5-1, 6-1 before I got the title shot.
Yeah. Because the guy Jack Shore, he's a fucking animal, to be fair. I think he's still undefeated. He's called up to UFC.
Yeah, he's on a 2-fight win streak in the UFC. I was actually speaking to I've got a sports psychologist. I was speaking to him today, and he was saying that I'm pretty much the only person to win a round against him.
Oh, really?
Which was surprising for me to know as well. You know what I mean? It's like apparently the first person to even win a round. You know what I mean? So at least a positive to take away.
That's a good feather in your cap, to be fair.
That's what it is. Still got to be at the end of the day. That's.
But it's that way when you're fighting such high level guys. Kind of anything can happen on the night. So I don't. It's that way you win or you learn, like as fucking John Kavanagh says.
It's good. I'll take away everything. Like when I've lost, every time I've lost, I've took away something. You know what I mean? I've realised what I need to work on and whatever else. So I just when I win.
Because you touched on a wee bit earlier about the pullouts, and that was something I did notice when I was looking through your tapology, because I like just looking through it just to make sure I don't make an arse of myself on air, but I already have. I got your record wrong before you signed for Cage Warriors. And that was something I did notice. You were getting a lot of pullouts. Was that frustrating for you?
It was really frustrating, especially I had a few of them. There was like 2 or 3 where it was like the day before I was supposed to fight. The day before I was supposed to weigh in. So that would basically done my full camp. I'd trained my ass off. I'd cut weight. I was pretty much on weight, and then the pull out. It might have just been a shit weight cut for them or whatever else, but I don't know. It's one of these things where it's like fucking not again. You know what I mean? Pretty sure I've got like 11 pull-outs, or at least 11 cancelled bouts. I think one of them I had to pull out myself. That was for my pro debut. I think I had to pull out myself. Ended up like seriously no well, but I rescheduled the fight with the same guy. You know what I mean? But yeah, 11 pull-outs.
Fuck me, that's me on the hooker. So did you ever get any reasoning behind why they pulled out, or was it just a call on the day like, oh, you can't make it?
A couple of them were like just injuries and stuff. A couple of them were just genuine like things, you know what I mean? But then other ones were they were a bit suspect, to be honest. I think because at the time I think I was like 3-1, which is not a great record, you know what I mean? And then you would get these guys pulling out, especially when I was like 1-1 and stuff. They would get these guys maybe find out a wee bit about my judo background, and they're like, well, I'm not taking this fight at 1-1, you know what I mean? So I don't know. I don't know. For me, I would always want to fight the best person, but you need to...
That's it as well. But do you feel sometimes you might have been a bit victim to who you were training with? Because what we mentioned off air, that you've trained at both higher level and Scottish Hit Squad, which is like the 2 best gyms in the country. Do you think sometimes people might do a bit of Instagram stalking and see you're training with the likes of like Paul Craig or Stevie Ray, Danny Henry, the guys that fight in the UFC, and Chris Bungard at Bellator? Do you think they look at that and go, oh fuck?
I don't know, because even at the time, I wasn't really even training there. You know what I mean? That was something that sort of came later on in my career. And I was always just training in Dundee with the guys in Dundee, and it was like I was literally was me and 2 other pros. One of them's a coach now. Another one he was training, but he wasn't really fighting. You know what I mean? He was still training hard, but he wasn't really fighting or training to fight. He was just training. So it was I was like the only pro guy that was training properly. You know what I mean? So that's, you know what I mean? That's, I don't know. It's one of these things where I still don't know to this day. It was just people being a fucking shite bag. Or what?
Well, let's not beat about the bush. It's likely. A lot of time folk probably just look at your record or see your record first and go, aye, fuck it, I'll fight him. And then they do a bit of backhanding and kind of go, oh, fuck, that fight will end well for me. So kind of shit it. But it seems the wrong attitude for me. But
that's always been a thing for MMA, though. You know what I mean? It's like some people will just pad their records and stuff, and it's kind of like a business in a way. I mean, for me, I probably should have had a couple more easier fights at the start of my career, you know what I mean? And my record would be better now. But it is what it is, you know what I mean? I got to where it got to, which I'm happy with, but there's still a lot more to give, you know what I mean?
Yeah, because you were saying about when you fought for the title, what was the feelings like the build up to the fight? Because I remember it being advertised on BT Sport, and it was like a big thing at the time. So, what was that like to be involved with?
It was great. I had like what was it, BBC Scotland, the news came out to my work and everything, and they were filming me working and stuff, and that was a bit weird. And the guys on the site and stuff were like, "What the fuck's going on here?" So that was a bit surreal, you know what I mean? It's like, oh, this guy's going to be fighting on TV, you know what I mean? So yeah, it was exciting for stuff like that, and I got to go down and do. It was like a sort of me and Jack and Dan Hardy sort of sat and just in front of like a wee desk, and we done like basically a face-off kind of thing when just asking questions and sat and spoke to each other, and that was on like BT Sport and stuff as well. So that was pretty cool. Yeah, it was a kind of surreal moment, but you need to sort of take these things on the chin when you're on the big fights. You know what I mean?
Because that's something that's always kind of intrigued me a bit. Like, what's it like when you're like you're standing in front of somebody or sitting across from them, and like you're talking about fighting. Like you're sitting there and you're talking to the guy that you're going to be fighting, but you can't fight him at that moment. Like, what's that like, and how do you control yourself?
For me, it's always been like loads of guys will be totally different. Some guys are complete fighters that will not even want to be around the guy because they feel angry or whatever, and they just want to fight the guy. For me, because I came from a judo background, like all the guys I've always competed against in judo, we were all pals off the mats. You know what I mean? You'd go on the mat, you'd compete against each other, and you'd come off the mat and you'd be mates again. So that's kind of the same sort of thing that I've took over into my MMA as well. Like I've never had like beef. You know what I mean? I've never had beef with anybody that's been anywhere in MMA. You know what I mean? So it's just at the end of the day for me, it's competing. Obviously, I want to go in there and beat the shit out of this guy, but that's on the night. You know what I mean? I'm not gonna start fighting with a guy in the street if I've seen him. You know what I mean?
Yeah. So it's more kind of to do with respect for you, and that's how you were brought up in martial arts, is to respect the opponent.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah. Oh, that's great. So you've went back to, is it Evolution of Combat, where you've just won the vacant bantamweight title?
Yeah.
What was that like fighting during because that was only in September, so what was it like fighting during coronavirus?
It was definitely different. It was had to go in, obviously get the COVID test and then sit outside until your COVID test comes back, and then going in, we were like warming up, and I was in an equestrian, so we were like warming up in stables at the back and stuff, and it was really weird. It was just something I'm going to remember for the rest of my life. You know what I mean? Fighting in a stable. But it was the fight itself. Obviously, when the gates closed, it's only you and him in there anyway. The only thing that was different is there was no music to my walkout. So I'm walking out to no music, that was the first. That was completely weird because I'm usually coming out to your walkout tune. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So that was the first thing that was kind of weird, and like I was able to hear the commentators like speaking about me as I was walking in. Once I was in there, when I was fighting, obviously you can hear the crowd when you're fighting, but it's just a blur. It's just big like white noise. You know what I mean? When I was in there that time, I was able to hear my corner like super clear. You know what I mean? I was able to hear everything they were saying, and I was able to take it in a wee bit more. So it was less nerve-wracking because it was coming off 3 losses as well. It was less nerve-wracking going in there. You know what I mean? So it kind of played better for me. You know what I mean? I think it was probably the right thing to do at my point in my career, was fight in front of no fans, because it's less pressure on me and stuff. So I kind of found it better, I think, yeah.
Because was it was it the same kind of getting yourself hyped up for the fight, like coming out, or did it just feel a bit like a sparring match? Because obviously, if you've got the kind of pop of the crowd, I can imagine that kind of gets the adrenaline pumping a wee bit.
Yeah, it definitely. I was way more relaxed, but
Yeah.
I think I probably fight better when I'm relaxed anyway. So I think it's sort of played to we phone on now. Sort of played to my strengths, I think. So
Yeah.
I'd like to do it again.
Because was that like pay-per-view or anything? Like, could you stream it? Or all right.
It was streamed, but it was like a really bad stream.
Oh, was it?
Loads of people just going on about how bad the stream.
Oh no.
But
that it's quite funny. See, when you were talking about how bad the stream was, the connection started cutting out a wee bit.
You crash. Yeah. So yeah, the fight's on YouTube. So if you want to go and watch it, it's on there.
Yeah.
At the time, it was like the stream was really, really bad. It was proper. Everybody was complaining about it. You had to obviously pay for it as well. So people were complaining. People were kicking up fuck. Like, what the fuck's going on with this stream? But I think they sorted it. I think even after the fight, they had like a little code that people that never got to watch the stream live, they were able to go and watch it again.
Right.
Then eventually, like I think it was maybe just 2 weeks ago or a week ago, they've just released the fight on YouTube.
I suppose if it's in a stables, they were probably just sending folk out ketamine to their door. A wee bit of horse tranquilizer.
If only.
How much was it to buy?
I think it started off £7, and then it went up to 10, and then it went up to 15 if it was on the night.
Oh, right. Oh, that's fair enough. So you're looking to fight on one of them again soon?
I was supposed to be possibly fighting in December, but I ended up injuring my back, so it was like the fight was kind of verbally agreed, but I had to sort of pull out because I only had like 6 weeks to train anyway. Then I injured my back, so I was out for 2 weeks, not able to do pretty much nothing. So when I injured my back, I had to pull out the fight. Now I'm back training again. I'm going to maybe see if I can get like a late pull out or something. I don't know, but it's looking like probably March next year before I could start fighting again, which is shit because there's no shows around.
Yeah, that
weekends. You know what I mean? COVID's fucked everything. It's fucked everything in the world.
Because that's kind of something me and Ross Cooper were talking about when he was on, and we were kind of wondering like what does the future look like for like regional mixed martial arts?
Yeah.
Like a lot of these venues and organisations still be running, because you've obviously fought on top. Like was that at the Onyx?
Onyx, yeah.
Aye, like will that even still be there? There's a lot of questions that hopefully will be answered in time.
Just for me, it's just about pain in the arse, man. It's like just let guys fight. Like do a couple of COVID tests. I think that show that we were on, I think we had to take 30 quid out of our purse to like subsidise for the test, and I was quite happy to do that. You know what I mean? It was like, what's 30 quid? You can still get the fight at the end of the day. You know what I mean? It was like a blood test as well, so it was done within like an hour or something. So they just prick your finger, they take your blood, and they check if you've got COVID, and then that was it. I don't know why they don't do that now, but
I'd imagine that'd be something most pros would be up for, because that's everything wants to fight.
Yeah, that's it. I think it's a shame on the guys that are like amateurs and that as well, because there isn't there's nothing around. You know what I mean? All the shows just now seem to be down in England.
Yeah.
And even at that, there's still slim pickings, like, you know what I mean? So it's one of these things where it's like 2020 is just kind of a write-off. So we'll see what happens.
You should just start doing shows in your own gym.
Yeah.
Live stream it on Facebook, charge £57. Make yourself a wee bit of money. That's the way forward.
until the police come and fucking shut down the gym.
Fuck it.
Yeah.
Have a delay on the stream. Say it wasn't there. So you touched on it a wee bit that you're looking to fight in March. So
Yeah.
what does the future look like for Boom Boom? Like where you aiming to be in a couple of years' time?
A couple of years' time, I'd hopefully be. My dream is to fight on One Championships. That to me is a show that's always sort of. I'm not always. Obviously, when I first started, I'd only really knew about the UFC, and then I started knowing about Bellator, and obviously Cage Warriors, etc. But these bigger shows, like One, not a lot of people know about it over here because it's over in Asia. So that's, to me, obviously doing judo and stuff, and I think that's what sort of attracted me to that, because it's sort of like about respect, and there's no trash talking and stuff like that, and it's just something I'm just not good at all. You know what I mean? There's guys that are fucking good at it, and that's not me. I'd rather just go in and fight and let my fighting do the talking rather than me do the talking, because I'd get powered, slagged.
Because that's it. Like One FC, that's quite old school as well, and they've captured the whole my pride, because that's the way they are. Like that's just exactly the way Pride is. It was kind of like what you seen was what you get. You just got a fight. You didn't get all this build up, folks smashing buses and shit like that. It was just more. It was more mutual respect. Like, I get the smashing the buses is fun to watch, but I think at the end, the athletes, it should all be about respect.
Yeah, I've never been to like Asia as well. I've only ever been to like America, etc. But I've never ever been over to Asia, so that's something I think that's another reason why I want to go over as well.
And the stadiums are massive.
I love the culture, like everything about it, like the buildings. You know what I mean? Like just everything about sort of Asia. I just like it. I think it's just a different world over there.
It does seem a lot more kind of relaxed.
Yeah.
That idea, like everyone's a lot more kind of mellow.
Mm-hmm. It's cool.
So did you catch the fights at the weekend to UFC 255?
I did. I think there's only one that I've not watched. Was what's her name? Yurchenko. Valentina.
Right, okay.
Yeah. I watched the first round and then I ended up needing to go to work, and I just not got around to watching the rest of it. But I watched most of the other ones. Like, yeah, it was good. Good showing. Seen Paul getting fingered.
I got his oil checked.
Yeah.
He looked phenomenal, didn't he?
He did. He looked really good. His striking looked good as well. Like way better than normal.
It was strange seeing him coming out, because like he came out like a traditional Thai fighter, but see, like he was lifting his leg.
His toe and that.
And it was like you were watching it a wee bit, and you were a bit, you know, what's going on here? Yeah. But no, he looked phenomenal. He'd obviously worked really hard during his camp.
Yeah.
Are you ever involved with any of his camps?
Not really. I think I'm far too small for him. You know what I mean? That's another reason why I went through at a higher level. It was like Scottish Hit Squad's great. All the guys are great. Everybody's great over there, but most of the guys are lightweights or above. You know what I mean? So it was kind of like I'm a bantamweight, and I'm now wanting to fight flyweight my next fight as well. So that's why I went to higher level. There's more guys my size. So that's kind of the main reason I went there as well. It's a wee bit closer as well. So
yeah.
But no, I've never really been. I've been there. I've been training around Paul when he's been training for a fight, but I don't think I'd be much benefit from him, to be honest. 5'2".
So what was your thoughts on some of the other fights, like the Figueiredo one?
Figueiredo, I've actually trained with him over in Team Alpha Male. He was there when I was over there, and he's good. Like, he dropped me with the biggest body shot I've ever had in my life. But like his wrestling, it didn't feel super strong, you know what I mean? But his wrestling wasn't at the time great, but his striking was like really, really good. You know what I mean? So he seems a good guy as well. Although we've sort of got this, not friendship, I wouldn't say it goes as far as friendship, but when we were on the mat training together, I was able to have a laugh with him, but he speaks like 3 words of English. You know what I mean? So it was weird because you were able to sort of have a laugh with him, but although we're not speaking English, strange one.
Ah, right. I get what you mean, because he's just a wee fucking unit, isn't he?
Yeah, he's solid, man.
He's just like solid muscle. Honestly, with the digging around, I didn't notice that you'd went over to Team Alpha Male. Otherwise, that would have been on the agenda earlier.
Yeah.
What was that like getting over there?
It was really good. All the guys obviously over there. That's the main reason I went over there, was just to check how good my wrestling was. You know what I mean? I always felt I was quite a good wrestler. Obviously coming from a judo background, but I wanted to really like test my wrestling against all these American guys. What better place to go than where there's like all the bantamweights in the world?
That's it.
And they're known for their wrestling. You know what I mean? So that was the main reason I wanted to go over there as well. But all the guys, everybody's great. You know what I mean? I loved California. It's like so relaxed, and it's just like I was able to go to the beach in between training and stuff. And obviously coming from Scotland, that's a rare thing to do.
Because they seem a dead tight knit community there. And it seems like once you're in, you can just go all the time, and they'll just treat you as like one of their own. Is that the way it was for you?
That's the way I felt. Like as soon as I went over, like everybody's like, even at the end of training, when I first went over, I met a couple of the guys. Well, I got in fairly late on a Saturday night, and it was like the UFC was on. I think it was Mark Hunt fighting Derek Lewis or something, however long ago that was. But yeah, all the guys came up, introduced themselves and stuff. Like there was nobody that never came over and introduced themselves. You know what I mean? So it was like, and then first training we're done. At the end, Uriah's like, "Is anybody new here?" And basically got me to say my name in front of everybody, and that was kind of it. You know what I mean? And then everybody just knew me from Scotland.
Scott the Scot.
Yeah, Scott the Scot. They're not going to forget me.
So did you get a chance to like train with Cody Garbrandt, or was
I done a wee bit of grappling with him, but at the time, like I never got to spar with Cody. I've been out there 3 times, but I never got to spar once because the first time I went, he just finished training, so it was like he's fight week, so he's obviously just cutting weight.
Yeah.
So the first time, obviously for that week, I was there for 3 weeks. He was cutting weight for his first week. The second week, he was obviously resting. And this third week, I had left the day before sparring. So it was like, I pretty much missed everything. But I did get a roll with him. That was as good as I got. But there is other guys that was sparring with. I sparred with Andre Feely, Josh Henry. Trying to think of other names that you'll know. But there's loads of other guys that you've probably never heard of yet. You know what I mean? That are really good spars. There's a guy, Dwight Joseph. He's really good. I think you'd probably see him. He was fighting on the Contender Series actually. He lost, but yeah, I think he'll probably be in the UFC pretty soon.
So I'll write his name down because that will give me a bit of homework today. That's one of the best things about doing these podcasts. Your homework's essentially watching folk fighting. It's amazing.
Yeah.
Because there's like Song Yadong.
I trained with Song. Yeah. Song's good, man.
He looks an absolute unit.
Yeah, he's strong. Like I was training with Ricardo Ramos as well. He was over there.
All right.
Yeah. So there was me. As I say, there was loads of bantamweights. So it was like there was Song. Song was actually there the first year I went. He wasn't even in the UFC when I first went. He was still fighting for one championships. Him and Lee Kai Wen. He still fights for one championships now. But we were like in a house together, so everybody that comes from obviously other places, we share a house in the fighter house. So there's like 8 beds in the house, and Song and Lee Kai Wen were there. So it was pretty funny because at the time they spoke pretty much no English at all. You know what I mean? but now they're starting to speak pretty good English. It's funny to see them like progress with their English. It's cool.
Like, as a guy coming from Scotland, could they understand you?
No, definitely not. When I was speaking at first, they're like, "What?" I says my name, and I say Scott, and they're like, "Skull, Skull," and I was like, "Scott," and they're like, "Oh, Scat." So that was it. It was Scat.
So, what was the? How did you feel that you stood up against these guys? Because that's one of the best gyms in America. It's got some of the best bantamweights and fighters in the world. How did your ability cope with them?
I feel like I belong there. You know what I mean? I feel like I do always feel like I'm the same sort of level as these guys. Some of them were like they were like Dan Elkins, for instance. He's an absolute nightmare. We were rolling with him, and he was fucking me up. You know what I mean? And that's the only time, probably the first time for a while, I was like, fucking hell, I need to up my game. You know what I mean? Whereas I'm training over here with guys from Dundee that are just, you know what I mean? They're doing it as a hobby. We're not doing it as a career. As amateurs, they're doing it every now and again. And don't get us wrong, the guys still give me a great spar, but when I go over there, like, that was just an eye opener. So some of the guys I was getting on all right, but some of the other guys I'm like, fucking hell, man. You don't actually realise how good they are until they're on top of you, punching you in the face.
Did you get a chance to roll with Tyler Diamond?
Yeah, rolled with Tyler. Tyler's good. He's we were doing a lot of sort of training over there together. He's a really nice guy in that as well. He's sound.
Because I remember when he was on the Ultimate Fighter, he was one of the ones that I thought he's gonna make it into the UFC for this, but it doesn't seem to have happened for him yet.
No, he fought in the UFC.
Aye,
And he fought Bryce Mitchell.
Aye.
On I think it was the card, the Ultimate Fighter card, I think it was at the time. He lost a very, very close decision. You know what I mean? It could have went his way, but I think he was just struggling. I don't know what happened, but he was just waiting to hear back from UFC, and it was like nothing coming back. And then I think he just got sick of sort of waiting and hanging about. You know what I mean? So he ended up going to, I think he fought on LFA again, and then he went to PFL. I'm pretty sure he's fighting it now.
Aye, I think that's the last place I saw that he was the Professional Fight League.
Yeah, I'm not sure if he's fought on there yet, but I'm pretty sure he's signed with them.
Because I think I follow him on Instagram, and I think that's where I'd seen that he'd been over there.
Yeah.
So the training with those guys, did that help you coming back to Scotland to like? Because you mentioned earlier that you're a co-owner of the gym. Did that help you pass down stuff to the younger guys in the gym?
Yeah, definitely. I've took loads away from there. You know what I mean? There's loads of things that I've took from there and maybe took from like my gym, because honestly, like the guy that used to coach us, Billy Beckers, he's like, although we never had the numbers, you know what I mean? There'd be like 4 or 5 guys training, you know what I mean? And where you go over to Team Alpha Male and there's like maybe 50 guys on the mat there, half of them are in the UFC. You know what I mean? But the coaching for Billy himself was great. And there's other coaches like you and Sloan, you know what I mean? Like I've took things from them, added my own wee spin on it, and I've took things from them and added my own wee spin on it as well. And I think it's just working pretty good for the guys. And it's great. Like the gym's been open for a year now, but 6 months of that's been shut by fucking COVID. But the level of the guys from when they first started to now is like unbelievable. You know what I mean? It's really good. It's cool to see them like coming on, and now they're giving me good spars, and it's frightening.
It must be great for you to see that progression in the young fighters.
Yeah, definitely. I've got a couple of young guys that are like 16. They're there. 2 young guys, Noah and Joseph, and I think they're going to be really good. They train all the time. They're always there. They're always, even when sometimes it's like just they 2 turning up. You know what I mean? But they're always training hard. They're always willing to learn. And yeah, I think they're going to do well as they get a wee bit older and start to pick up fights, man.
Because that is something that I have noticed on like just for viewing social media, etc. That I think it won't be long until Scotland's right there. Like we're there with the likes of the Americans and the Brazilians, because it seems like we started a bit late, but we're catching up, and now we're getting the kind of young folk who like don't drink, they don't do all the drugs and all that shit. Their life now is just for a young age, is just training, and I think in about 10 years, Scotland will be there.
Yeah, it's weird. Obviously, Scotland's got the culture, but especially as soon as you hit 14 or whatever, you know what I mean? You're on the bucket. That's your life, you know what I mean? That becomes just life, and it's just normal. Whereas in America, it's not normal to be like that at 14. You know what I mean? It's unheard of. But now, as you say, guys are like, they're don't want to drink anymore, and they want to go and train instead of drinking. It's like, I just feel like if I was like that when I was young, because I was still competing, but I was still going out and drinking on the weekends and stuff. You know what I mean? And like at judo, but I never took judo as serious as I took MMA. I think because it's just because it's a fight, you know, you can get knocked out. You know what I mean? So it's like you've got to take it serious, or you will end up getting knocked out.
So is that a bit of, would you give a bit of advice to like young fighters like coming up in your gym? Would you tell them to go out there and kind of experience the world, experience different cultures, and go and kind of train at different gyms?
Yeah, that's the first thing I said to the guys in my gym. When everybody was there, I was like, look guys, this is an open gym. I was like, if you want to train anywhere else, you can go and train anywhere else. Because I'd be a hypocrite if I say, right, you can't train anywhere else. You know what I mean? I want guys to get as far as they can get with me, and if they need to go anywhere else, then that's up to them. You know what I mean? I don't want to be any good holding anybody back. I'd rather them go on, and I could be like, well, I used to coach him. You know what I mean?
Aye.
That for me would be an achievement. I've got him to where he started. I've took him off. You know what I mean? That's great for me. I'm happy for these guys to go elsewhere and train. You need to sometimes, you know what I mean? Sometimes the level's just not there, or the sort of professionalism's not there with the guys in some gyms, you know what I mean? So you need to go at other places and get like when I go on through like Scottish Hit Squad, higher level, there's guys that are in the UFC and they're training, but there's other guys that are not in the UFC, they're training just as hard, you know what I mean? It's like they're taking it just as serious, because you can see the guys in the gym that are taking it really serious, and they're like, oh, well, maybe I should as well. That for me has just been a big thing. What I've always said from the start, like, if you want to train someplace else, then go and train someplace else.
I think that's probably one of the best bits of advice you could give them, because it was something Chris Duncan on the podcast last month, and that was something that he was saying that he finds very beneficial. But he goes over to American top team and all of those kind of gyms, and he travels around Scotland to get the kind of best bits of knowledge. Yeah,
Chris has been down. We've got a Muay Thai coach, Eamon. Chris has been coming down and hitting pads with Eamon and stuff as well at my gym. So it's good to see like guys like Chris coming in and, you know what I mean, using the gym. It's going to attract more people into my gym. You know what I mean? It's just a wee gym from Perth, but I'm hoping eventually it's going to be something bigger. You know what I mean?
Yeah, because that's amazing. Because like you said there, you've only been open a year, so to get the people that you're getting in and making that difference in young guys' lives, it's amazing. It is amazing work that you're doing.
Yeah, cheers.
no, you kiss your ass too much. Because see, when you're over at Team Alpha Male, did you get to roll with Jean-Claude Van Damme?
Nah, never got to see him. He wasn't there when I was there, unfortunately. I would have been fanboying him.
Oh, I can imagine. I would have been the same, because you see the videos that they put on Instagram and it's just him fucking running in the treadmill. Jean-Claude.
I grew up watching like Bloodsport and all the rest. You know what I mean? That was other films. That's sort of why I think I've led to being into martial arts in the first place. Bruce Lee movies, all the rest. I think fucking 90% of the guys that fight have all went through that same sort of stage.
So you watching the fights at the weekend with Tyson and Roy Jones?
I'm probably going to watch it, mate. But to be honest, I'm kind of not wanting to watch it at the same time. Although I think Tyson's been looking pretty good on the pads, but I don't know if it's going to be the same in the ring. You know what I mean? I don't really want to see two older guys out of their prime fighting. You know what I mean? It's like, what if somebody gets really hurt, really badly knocked out? You know what I mean?
That's one of the things that they're trying to include in like the clause is they can't knock each other out.
Well.
That's like one of the rules. And I
don't know how you do that with Mike Tyson. Like,
that's what I was saying. I was like, it's Mike Tyson. Like, that's because they put a list of the rules up, and there's like not going to be any winners. It's like an exhibition sort of thing.
Yeah.
There's a cut. It's like a serious cut. It's getting ended, and they're not allowed to knock each other out. And I was like, how can you steward that? Like two guys,
just like everybody watching them spar, pretty much. Yeah.
Aye. But even at that, like you'll know better than them do. Like any kind of punch in sparring, but it doesn't need to be the most powerful one. It could not.
Yeah. I can still see somebody getting knocked out. Like,
aye, because see when you listening to Tyson, he's no training for a spar. He's a psycho.
No. Crazy man. Coming right over to Scotland.
My ears are too wee for him. It sounds. But I suppose Adesanya kind of spitting insults for 2 hours might be quite fun because he's one of the commentators on it.
I noticed that. I seen that on Twitter actually. That he was going to commentate on that. That'll be fun. It'll be pretty funny on that.
He's got a good bit of part of Adesanya, to be fair to him.
Yeah. He's technically really good as well, so you'll be able to see stuff as well, I think.
That's it. He's world class. He's probably one of the best. So I was thinking of that like a couple of weeks ago when I was in his last fight. I was against Costa. I think he might be the best striker I've ever seen in the UFC.
Yeah, he's really good. Like, I actually tweeted, like, I think he had one fight in the UFC, and I tweeted, like, he's going to be the UFC champion. And I wrote, mark my words, and then turns out to be the champion.
Because I remember his debut, and he was coming in with a bit of height, but just looked like he belonged straight away. Yeah,
definitely.
So if it's all right with you, we'll just kind of wrap it up there.
No worries, mate.
So thanks very much for coming on. Do you have any social media that you want to kind of promote?
Yeah, well, I've got Scotty _boom on Instagram. Scott Malone 265 on Twitter. You can get us on that. If you could follow my gym page, that would be great. So Omega _MMA _training. We'll have to change it. It was originally Omega MMA, but somebody else has got that, I think.
Right.
It's a gym in America or something.
Are you not getting them your OnlyFans yet? No.
No. We can get the OnlyFans. If people are willing to pay, then I'll fucking start on OnlyFans. I tell you.
You could get that could be a business. Only fighters. It's just training, like doing your high level training, and folk pay a $5 to watch it. There you go.
Why not?
Partners. So